What if I told you that some of the very fruits you might be avoiding could actually help you manage your blood sugar, and maybe even do a better job than some medications? I know, it sounds totally backwards, but today we're going to break down the science behind 4 specific fruits that could completely change the way you think about your diet.
It's probably one of the first things you hear after a diagnosis, right? Hey, watch out for fruit, it's just packed with sugar. And that one piece of advice creates so much confusion, and frankly, a lot of fear. So is fruit really the enemy here? Or is there a lot more to the story?
Well, according to the source material we're looking at, not only is some fruit okay, some types are actually incredibly powerful. I mean, look at this quote. That is a bold statement. It suggests that nature might be holding some pretty potent secrets for controlling our blood sugar. So, let's dig in and see what this is all about. All right, let's jump right in with our first category, berries. Now, these are way more than just a tasty snack. They're basically nutritional powerhouses, loaded with compounds that give you major benefits with a surprisingly small hit to your sugar levels. So let's break down the numbers here. Strawberries are a great place to start, with a low glycemic index of 41 and under 6 grams of net carbs. Blueberries, a little bit higher, but still well within a good range. But the real superstar here, it might just be raspberries. Because they have so much fiber, they have an incredibly low 5.4 grams of net carbs. And that fiber is absolutely key because it slows down how fast your body absorbs any sugar. Okay, but what does this mean in the real world? Well, check this out. Research cited in our source suggests that eating berries every day could lead to a drop in your fasting blood glucose of up to 27 points. I mean, that is a huge change. It shows this is way more than just a theory.
So what's the secret weapon here? It's a group of compounds called anthocyanins. These are basically the natural pigments that give berries those beautiful, vibrant red and blue colors. And what they do is they help your muscle cells become way more receptive to insulin, almost like they're opening the door for glucose to get out of your bloodstream and into your cells where you can actually use it for energy.
Now, to really get these benefits, how you eat them matters. You want to go for fresh or frozen berries. That's where you'll find the most nutrients. Always try to pair them with a protein or a healthy fat like Greek yogurt or some walnuts to slow down that glucose response even more. And this part is absolutely critical. Stay away from juices and anything with added sugar. That just cancels out all the good stuff. A portion of about 100 to 200 grams a day seems to be the sweet spot.
All right, moving on to fruit number 2, cherries. We often think of these as just a sweet treat, but it turns out certain kinds of cherries pack a serious punch for managing blood sugar, and they offer a really unique additional benefit.
Okay, so not all cherries are created equal. Not by a long shot. As you can see from this comparison, while sweet cherries are perfectly fine, the real star for blood sugar management is the tart cherry. They have a lower glycemic index, a much higher concentration of those powerful anthocyanins we just talked about, plus another key compound.
And just look at the potential impact here. Studies mentioned in the source material point to a possible reduction in your HbA1c of up to 1.2 points over just 12 weeks. Now, for anyone who manages diabetes, you know that dropping your A1c by over a full point is a massive, massive victory for your long-term health.
And here is that unique benefit I mentioned, melatonin. Tart cherries are a natural source of this sleep hormone. Now, why does that matter? Because get this, poor sleep can absolutely demolish your insulin sensitivity by as much as 44%. So by helping you sleep better, tart cherries can have this powerful, indirect effect on your blood sugar control. It's like a fantastic 2-for-1 deal.
Coming in at number 3 is a fruit you probably have sitting on your kitchen counter right now.
Yeah, the humble apple. It's so easy to overlook, but inside this everyday fruit is a remarkably effective tool for keeping your blood sugar stable.
Just look at that number, 36. That is an incredibly low glycemic index, which puts apples right up there in the top tier of blood sugar-friendly fruits. And the reason for this impressive score isn't just regular old fiber. It's a very specific kind of fiber that works in a pretty fascinating way. And that special fiber is called pectin. So when you eat an apple, this pectin mixes with all the liquid in your stomach and intestines, and it forms this thick gel. You can think of this gel like a net. It literally traps sugars and starches and forces your body to digest them much, much more slowly. And that whole process is the key to preventing those sharp, damaging blood sugar spikes you get after a meal. So what's the right way to eat an apple? Well, first and foremost, and I mean this, do not peel it. The source says that a staggering 70% of the antioxidants are in the peel. If you want to be extra careful, go for the green Granny Smith apples. They have the lowest sugar content. And pairing it with something like almond butter is a classic for a reason. The fat and protein slow digestion down even more. And just like with berries, apple juice is a definite no-go.
All right, our final fruit is, without a doubt, the most powerful of the four. But it also comes with a very, very important warning. Let's talk about grapefruit, a citrus fruit that has almost drug-like effects on blood sugar. The active compound in here is called naringin, and it's so effective at improving insulin sensitivity by up to 47%, according to the source, that its mechanism is actually compared to metformin, the very medication we mentioned at the start of all this. It also has a rock-bottom glycemic index of just 25. But this incredible potency is exactly why we have to be extremely careful.
And I really cannot stress this enough. The very same thing that makes grapefruit so powerful also makes it potentially dangerous if you're on certain common medications. And this is not some minor side effect we're talking about. This is a critical safety warning.
If you are taking any of these types of drugs, statins for your cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, or immunosuppressants, you have to avoid grapefruit completely. And honestly, the list is much longer than this. It covers over 85 different medications. So talking with your doctor or pharmacist about this is absolutely non-negotiable.
Here's why this is so serious. Grapefruit blocks a specific enzyme in your gut that's responsible for breaking down these drugs. What happens then is your body absorbs way more of the medication than it's supposed to. The source says it can ramp up the levels in your blood by up to 500%. That's essentially turning a normal therapeutic dose into a massive, potentially toxic overdose.
Okay, wow, that was a ton of information, right? From some amazing benefits to some really critical warnings. So let's bring it all together now into a simple, actionable playbook that you can use as a guide.
So let's just do a quick recap. Each of these fruits has its own superstar compound, right? For berries, it's the anthocyanins, which are great for those post-meal spikes. For cherries, it's melatonin, helping with both sleep and insulin. For apples, it's that pectin fiber, which slows down sugar absorption. And for grapefruit, it's the potent naringin, but that one requires extreme caution. And remember, the best practice for how you eat them is always key.
Learning that fruit isn't automatically off limits, it really challenges that old school wisdom. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other rules that we all just take for granted might be based on incomplete information? What else in our diet could we be looking at in a completely new light? That's a really powerful question to think about on your own health journey.